Never before have companies so feared their customers. It only takes one furious tweet or indignant Facebook post to spark a firestorm that even the most skilled public relations team cannot contain. With consumers becoming increasingly more vocal, companies are placing greater emphasis on the customer experience. They're relying on experts to help them build and protect their reputations and brand equity. While in our Cape Town studio to discuss this further is Debbie Goodman-Bhyat, who is the CEO of Jack Hammer Executive Headhunters. Debbie, thanks for your time. I just want to know this new trend that we are seeing. What do we call them? Customer experience experts. What is their job description exactly?
Okay, well that differs obviously from company to company and the level at which they're going to come into the organization. But really in a nutshell, this is the individual who owns the customer experience, which is a bit of a broad term, but they're primarily there to do two things. The one is to drive attraction and retention of customers, and the second is to fix problems and complaints.
Okay, that sounds like quite a handful that they'll need to do. We've seen a number of corporates globally pouring in a lot of money to this particular skill. How is South Africa stacking up?
Well, we're a little bit behind the curve. I'm seeing globally that organizations such as Cisco, FedEx, Walgreens, they've all got this role as the customer experience individual sitting on their C-suite, meaning the chief customer expert or chief customer experience manager. In South Africa, we're a little behind the curve, but nevertheless, the person that was previously responsible for customer matters has been moved from the back office and now has responsibility in cross-functional capacity and is now at a more senior management level, sometimes sitting at executive level in certain organizations.
Debbie, do we have the expertise to do that? You're talking about somebody who was in back office and now being put in this particular position where they need to manage the brand integrity of a company. Is that one of the reasons why we are falling behind or are behind the curve as you speak?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's a different kind of individual that's now sitting in these senior customer experience and customer relationship roles. Nowadays, this individual is somebody who really needs to be able to leverage technology, leverage big data, be able to influence through multiple stakeholders cross-functionally in an organization. So whilst there's not necessarily a specific course or degree that one can go on in order to learn how to do this, the individual is going to have a degree of customer experience, customer management, possibly marketing, certainly digital and online exposure, because all of these things interface with this particular portfolio in an organization.
Debbie, an interesting stat that I picked up, research apparently has shown that it takes 6 to 7 times or more, and it's actually more costly by 6 to 7 times to get a new customer than to retain one. So this has been proven, this is true.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is true. I mean, there are many organizations that have really managed to measure the customer life cycle and the value that one individual customer will bring to that organization over their lifetime. Certain automotive manufacturers, for example, I won't be specific around brand, but have measured that one customer has a value to that organization of $1 million over their life cycle. And that's not necessarily just the number of cars that they buy, but also the individuals and their network who they'll be able to influence. It's certainly something that the person responsible for this customer experience will be responsible for, is first of all to look at the cost of acquisition, then the cost to serve, and then certainly customer retention, because once you've spent all that money in acquiring customers, it's just it's not as expensive to retain those individuals in your organization. So that's why we see loyalty programs and other rewards type initiatives. Sadly, one irate customer these days with the kind of customer activism that we're seeing can really destroy and erode an entire customer loyalty or acquisition campaign that's taken a lot of resources and money and time to build.
Yes, we have all seen those billboards that have come up. Debbie, just a final thought from you with regards to big data. You mentioned that this is something that companies are using now.
Yes, I think these days with access to broad-based pockets of information around customer behavior, this is something that the person responsible for customer experience will be leveraging, understanding how to drive certain types of behavior, understanding trends and purchasing behaviors of groups of individuals in segments as well as individuals. One has so much access to what one individual will be choosing over another, and that's certainly one of the things that will be part of this portfolio, the ability to understand and then leverage the information that many organizations have access to these days.
Debbie, thank you so much. So it has been proven the consumer or the customer is king. Thanks to Debbie Goodman-Bhyat. She's the CEO of Jack Hammer Executive Headhunters.